What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today, I thought I would challenge myself to try and build a custom JJS map within 24 hours. I've never built anything before in Jujutsu Shenanigans. I only know the basics of like putting down blocks and like stretching and rotating them. So yeah. Recently, I've been coming back to liking kaiju games on Roblox. Bro, I'm a fucking crip! So I thought, why not build the map of the best kaiju game of all time? Or what was once the best kaiju game of all time. Now, since Kaiju Universe had a whole like map remodel thing, and I really wanted to make the old Kaiju Universe map, any reference I used had to be either from nostalgia, old screenshots, or Google, which should be fine, I hope. But anyway, let's just get straight into building. Okay, so first off, I started with the ocean. I decided to make it as wide as the JJS map for now, and a little bit wider in length. I tried to recreate the abyss effect, like the one on screen right now, and I failed miserably. So I decided glacier was not a bad texture because it did look like waves. It had that waves like texture. After that, I started to work on the basic shape of the island, which had the shape of one of those like neck massagers, which I divided into 3 parts: main, sub, and mid. For now, I made it super simple just by making a rectangle for main, and I also copied and pasted the other part for sub. From then on, I adjusted the shape of main and sub by adjusting their size, rotation, and position of extra parts. Here I decided to make both sides a little thicker because I wanted this map to feel quite big. I then started working on mid, which I know looks really bad right now, but trust the process. I changed the texture and the color of the base to match that sandy beach vibe. I also made the base a little bit thicker and, protrude off the ground. Then I proceeded to add a little details into the base to make things look more jagged and random, while also trying to keep, the pretty similar shape to the original map. This definitely helped in giving the map just a little bit more depth. Then I spent the next 30 to 40 minutes covering parts of the map with grass, while also making sure that the map still had like depth and not just flat grass. I also made sure to keep some of the outer sand, since in the Ku map it's not fully green. There's some of that sandiness. After that, I started to work on the base of the city in main, sub, and mid. At the same time, I was going based off of this picture, which I later found out that isn't very accurate at all. After fixing mistakes like main, sub, and mid being connected, sub had more, flat edges instead of rounded, and changing the whole color of the city base itself, I started to work on the infamous Tokyo Bridge, which honestly was a pretty simple build, and I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I don't know. Once I finished, I worked on the streets asphalt for all 3 parts of the city. Then I built the tunnel hill thing that separates mid and sub, which I low-key eyeballed this. At this point, I was 3 hours deep into building, so I wanted to take a quick break and nap. But an hour later, I hopped back on and added the yellow lines on the road there. I then decided to work on buildings. So for the buildings themselves, I categorized them into 3 categories: big, medium, and small. The first building I built was this building here. It's an L-shaped building, which I placed in the medium category. At first, I wanted the buildings to glow, so I used the neon blocks for the window, but it was just way too bright. So instead, for any future buildings I made, the walls were out of ceramic tiles, and I made the windows out of leather. Yeah, I don't know why. I also made these traditional rectangle buildings, which was also put into the medium category tiles. After I placed both building types around the map, Moreno pointed out that I was missing a dock in the sub parts of the island. This dock was basically just a spawn point for kaijus, but it had a ledge that had no sand whatsoever. So I quickly fixed that issue. All right, for the next few building types, let's do a little bit of a speed run. Definitely not because I forgot to record me building like 90% of these buildings. buildings, whatever. Let's just go. The next building I made was based on this building here, which has these 3 different colored billboards on the bottom, which is probably my favorite building that I've made. Afterwards, I built this circular building, which I made by combining like 9 of these flat rectangle buildings, and was put into the big category. After that, I built this ass building with these black outlines, which was also put into the big category. While placing them around, I modified a building to be more of a 16:9 shape building. The final building I made for the big category was this skyscraper type building with a red and yellow tip, which guys, if your tips are red and yellow, make sure you go see a doctor. The final few buildings I made were all for the small category, which a lot of these are just smaller versions of the other buildings, like this building here, which was just the bottom of the triple colored building, and this one here, which is just a shorter version of the circular building. Additionally, I added 2 versions of the basic buildings and also this red box, which I kept seeing in the screenshots I had. After finally placing all the buildings and then taking a nap, we were finally in the final stretch, and all I had to do was make and place trees around the map. The trees I built were based on the JJS trees instead of Kaiju trees because I thought it'd be better. And after placing the trees around the map, I had finally completed my custom Kaiju Universe map, which took me around more or less 12 hours, naps included. And that wraps it up for today's video. I want to thank you guys so much. If you reach this end, comment down the word kaiju if you watched all the way to the end, and I'll give your comment a like. If you guys are interested in the actual map itself, it's on screen right now. It is published, so if you guys want to try the map, you can. Let me know, like, what can I add to the map to make it better? If this video gets enough like likes and views, I would probably continue this series and maybe either expand the map or make a completely different map in general. I was thinking like I could maybe like add NPCs or something. Like I don't know. Like give me ideas in the comments. What can I do for the map? But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Blah 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 blah. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.